Oh boy, chat. I'm probably going to get a little bit of flack for this one, because one thing that I noticed right now on the internet, people don't actually like when you're changing the narrative. That they usually like when you're telling them the things that they already believe, which is kind of unfortunate because this wasn't the case in 2016. Like in 2016, I felt as if content creators have a lot more freedom to talk about stuff. But now I notice, and it's on other channels, by the way, not with you guys. Like you guys are fine. But I notice like on other channels that do political commentary, like the moment that you have like Anna Kasperian just like sidestepping and having like a different interpretation, she gets roasted. The moment you have Destiny sidestepping and having a different interpretation, he gets roasted. And I feel like it's the same with the right now. Like anyone that has like even the smallest amount of criticism for like what's happening, they immediately get roasted. Like there was this chick, which was at the university, and she basically said that Barron Trump is kind of weird because like he doesn't interact with anyone. He just sits in the back of the class and doesn't talk and then goes home. And because she said that, she was immediately asked to step down from her position, right? And so it seems like there's I wouldn't say like there is very little room for criticism. It feels like the machinations, like the stepping stones for reaching a point where any type of criticism is unthinkable is getting there, you know? It's usually what happens when an ideology is in power, I guess. It's expected. Kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's audience capture. I am trying my best not to allow for audience capture to become a thing because I firmly believe that people like my channel because I actually talk freely, that I actually say what I think. And I think like this is my selling point, right? Because I don't have any backings, I don't have any sponsors. I'm not the type of person that puts a lot of value into production. And so, like, the only content that I have is the fact that I genuinely speak the way I see things, and this seems to resonate with people. And I think Asmongold is the same, right? Like, Asmongold refused to kiss the ring of Elon Musk, and it was the right call. Like, eventually, Elon Musk turned and agreed with Asmongold's take. Core vegans are not purists, you'll be fine. No, I know. I'm just saying, like, when I watch other channels, like when I watch Tim Pool, when I watch Quartering, when I watch like other places, like the moment they start criticizing the right, the audience freaks out. And I kind of understand why that is, right? Because after suffering a decade of humiliation from the woke, it feels as if every criticism is a concern troll, every criticism is an attack. Any type of disagreement is actually there to foster dissent rather than to channel a conversation. And it's also the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, the conversation really doesn't matter. Like, Trump is not going to run for a third term. Nothing that we say here actually influences world events. But it's interesting to just have the conversation as an analysis. Like, what's actually happening? You know, what decisions have been made? What are the consequences? Are they good? Are they bad? I think, like, this is more important than just, like, parroting certain things that you guys want to hear or the audience wants to hear. 5 days until my birthday. Holy shit, man. It's creepy that you know. They were sucking up to Bannon and trying to make him join. I don't know what they were doing, but like, the thing with Bannon, the statement that he is weird and doesn't interact with people, to me makes sense. Because when you're the president of the United... or when you're the son of the president of the United States of America, and you have like a lot of responsibility thrusted upon you, whether you like it or not, you don't know if anyone is genuinely your friend. Like, if people actually like you and they want to be your friend, or if people are just trying to use you in order to get to your dad. Or if someone pretends to be a friend in order to backstab you and to use any information that you tell them about your dad against you, right? So, most people that go to university, like, they join fraternities, they have parties, they make a lot of friends, right? Like, they crush puss, like South Park likes to say. But in the case of Bannon, he definitely can't do that. Like, it would be unwise for him to do that. So, yeah, like, I genuinely believe that from the perspective of the outside, like, yeah, he's a weird dude. Like he sits in the back, waits for the course to be over, and then goes back home, right? Like, he probably has friends that are outside of his university circles, like people that he trusts, people that he knows when he was younger. Because that's what you gotta do when your dad is the president of the most powerful nation on earth. Like, there's no alternative, right? Like, the press has already tried getting to him when he was younger, right? And using him against his dad and whatnot. And so, like, if they're saying, like, yeah, he's a weird dude, I'm pretty sure that that's how it looks like from the outside. And he has to be weird, because, like, you have to be different when you're the son of the president. More than a decade. It started with Clinton. I don't know. I don't think, like, it was so bad in 2010 or so. Like, I think it was a lot more bearable. But anyway, right, so, do we talk about what I wanted to talk about now, or do we wait a little bit for more people to join? I say we wait a little bit. In the meantime, we can talk about other things. Wait, what the fuck? Is Twitter down? Like, I'm trying... Guys, can you do me a favor? Try to log on Twitter and tell me if the website is down. I never got this error before. I'm getting an error that the entire Twitter is offline. This is so fucking weird. Hold on, let me Google it. Like, is this breaking news? This is breaking news, chat. Okay, it works now. But it works very slowly. I think they're having, like, some weird technical difficulties. I wonder if this is a cyber attack. I'm investigating, chat. Yeah, it's literally down. For some people, it's slow, but it's still up. And for other people, it's legitimately down. I don't know if this is a DDoS attempt. It doesn't look like a DDoS attempt. It looks like something else entirely. Okay, now it's back up, but it's barely working. The last time it behaved this way is when someone at Twitter decided to feed it a bad line of code. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Britain. Britain. Very interesting. Now Britain is dealing with a high level of turmoil. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know the Labour Party isn't that popular, and they're having a culture that's very toxic to young men. I would say that out of the entire Europe, maybe Sweden had the same culture, but, like, the feminism in Britain is absolutely rabid. Like, compared to all the other nations, like, maybe Spain has, like, a similar strain of feminism. That the type is like hashtag yes all men, you know? Like, they went really way beyond the Call of Duty. Like most nations on Europe had feminism, but Britain took it, like, literally way too fucking far. And so, a lot of men feel disenfranchised, and there is an ideology now that certain British people that are right-wingers are having. Like, mostly are Zoomers. And I think maybe it's coming from the United States. I don't know. But the idea is, like, liberty is bad. Freedom is awful. Allowing women to vote is a mistake. And the way they justify this is because allowing people to be free is what got us here. Right? So, like, if you allow people to make their own decisions, you will unironically have woke ideology all the time, every time. And this is bad. Right? And so the way to fix it is to create an ideology that compels people to behave the way we want them to behave. And only like that can we have a good, prosperous nation. Right? Like, again, not all conservatives, not all British. It's mostly like the young Zoomer types, the ones that feel disenfranchised. They're the ones that are pushing a form of this ideology one way or another, right? Like, and you get to see it on Twitter. Like, they're actually speaking, they're from Britain, and they're basically stating this thing. And I unironically asked one of them, what's wrong with Sharia then? And I wasn't asking this, like, as a gotcha question. I wasn't asking this, like, trying to be like, what's wrong with Sharia? No, like, I legitimately was curious. What is that argument? Because out of all the ideologies on earth that exist right now, like, Islam is legitimately the only ideology that allows them to achieve most of their goals. Like, you don't like woke ideology. Okay, well, now if you're a Muslim, you get protection, right? You're not just like a cisgender heteronormative man, according to the British public. That now you actually get protection. Uh, the concept of feminism just goes away because like Islam is very strict when it comes to women and women rights and women empowerment. Like, it's very clear. You have like all of these goals that you're trying to achieve, and all of a sudden they're there, right? And I asked them, so like, what is your argument against that? Because the reality is, like, you want Christianity, but there's no Christianity in Britain, right? Like, we're applying it to the nation you live in. Like, the problem in Britain is that the churches are closing because there aren't Christians. It's not like the government is oppressing Christians. It's like, no, like, people move away from Christianity and they either pick Islam or woke ideology. That's what's happening right now. Like, this is the reality, right? I'm just describing it. I'm not saying what's going to happen. I'm not predicting. Like, I'm telling you, this is what I'm seeing. And so there's like two arguments that have been made. The first argument that I hear is like, well, Islam is not British. So like, even if it gives me everything I want, it's a foreigner ideology. And I don't know if that's a good excuse, because like, by that logic, 200 years from now, it will become British, right? Like, if it exists for 100 or 200 years, then you'll make the argument that, okay, well, now it's part of British culture. The second one is like, well, yeah, but like Islam has child marriages and other things. And it's like, well, sure, but it doesn't have to, right? Like, you don't have to copy the worst aspects of it. You can be like Turkey. And the reason I asked the question, and again, like, a lot of people got upset just because I asked the question. The reason that I asked the question is because this is the conversation they're going to eventually have with their grandkids. If things don't change, your grandkids are going to basically ask this question. Like, why shouldn't I convert? Because at the end of the day, it's a religion, it's an ideology, right? Like, it doesn't change your genome, doesn't change your race. You're still like the same person. It's just like your way of thinking. Like, you adapt a new way of viewing the world, which offers you now government protections, and it gets you NGOs on your side, it provides you with a community, it provides you with order from the chaos. And so, like, what exactly are you going to tell your kids? Because at the end of the day, humans choose the path of least resistance. Always. All the fucking time, right? Like, human beings, if they can pick a path of least resistance, that's what they take. And so, like, if you're fighting against woke ideology, Islam in Britain, like, not in other parts of the world, in Britain is, unironically, the path of least resistance. So you're going to have to tell your kids. Because, like you're telling your kids, oh, if only women wouldn't have a right to vote, and if only we can, have more rights, and if only we can do this and that, and if only we can constrain everyone to think like us, well, they would be like, okay, so, like, Islam is the answer to most of these problems. It's not perfect, it's not the way you want it, but it's as close as it gets, right? And again, like, people are upset about what I'm saying. Hello, Sakapupe. But this is a conversation they don't have to have with me. It's a conversation they're going to have with their kids if this is the mindset. Here in Eastern Europe, we think differently, right? Like, here in Eastern Europe, we don't like Islam because we like our own values. And our own values are freedom, liberty, like we like freedom of expression. We like the way that it is now. We don't try to persuade everyone to think like us. And so, like, we're resistant to Islam because that's a different thing that they're offering. They're not offering what we want. Right? So, like, we have, like, our morals and values and principles that go against that. But if you create an ideology that's pretty much like the same what they're trying, it's just, like, a little different. It's, like, 5 or 10% different. Well, good luck is all I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, I'm telling you, like, for most conservative people out there, if your kid comes back home from school and he tells you, Dad, I'm a Muslim, or Dad, I'm trans, which one do you think, like, 99% of the conservatives are going to choose? Like, what do you think they want to hear? Yeah, like the problem in Britain is like, as Lazy One said, is like they don't seem to reflect how did Islam became viable, right? Because at the end of the day, they say voting doesn't matter, but they legitimately did. It's not that they voted for labor that's the problem, because I see like a lot of right-wingers, like they're requiring government intervention. Like the problem in Britain right now, a lot of people are saying, well, if we get a good government, then they're going to constrain people to become Christians. Like they're going to force people to become Christians, and they're going to force the Muslims out of Britain, and it's going to be all good, right? But that's not the case. It's not, I mean, the government, sure, it doesn't make it good, but it's not the government that's the problem. When you have a church that gets turned into a mosque, the way that happens is that you don't have enough Christians attending mass, and then the church doesn't have money to keep on the finances, so they're selling, right? And then an imam buys the church and turns it into a mosque. Now, if this happened in Eastern Europe, you don't need the government to prevent the sale of the church. Because, like, okay, the government prevents the sale of the church, and then the church just falls in disrepair. It has broken windows. It looks like shit. And eventually it becomes a hazard because, like, the building is about to collapse since no one is repairing it, right? No, like if it happened in Eastern Europe, if, like, a church, let's say, in some village, in some place that has historical value, is now starting to run out of believers. Like, no one is going there to attend. And the church is now going to be sold to an imam. What would happen is, like, it would be a national emergency. Like, every Christian around Romania would start pitching in. Like, they would put money, and together they would buy the church, and they would have, like, people being bussed in order to go to mass, even though, like, they wouldn't normally have to. Like just so you understand, here in Romania, it's one of the few places on earth where during COVID, the government banned people attending Easter, right? So, like, during Easter, Christians weren't allowed to gather in front of the churches. And so we had atheists. Like, we had atheists, myself included. Like, we went there just to see what the fuck happens. It's like, yeah, sure, give me a fine. I don't fucking care. I will stay there because it's a matter of principle. Because even I, as an atheist, I have never argued for the shutting down of churches under any circumstance. Like, just because I don't believe in God, and just because, like, I'm against, like, Christians that are moral busybodies and shit, I never advocated for Christianity as an ideology to be rooted out of existence, right? And most Romanian atheists, they think like me. And so this is a different society, right? Like, I'm not trying to enforce my ideas onto every single person. I don't think, like, I would live in a good country if every single member of society thinks like me. I think that would be awful if everyone thought like me. It would probably be chaos rather than order. People hate being, they hate being controlled. They hate being told what to do. Romanians haven't been indoctrinated to hate their own culture yet. But, like, that's the thing. Like, do you think the indoctrination would work? Because they tried. They tried in Hungary. They tried in Poland. They tried in Romania. No, it just doesn't work. And this is why they're trying, like, different ways of subversion. Like, the subversion in Eastern Europe is completely different than the one in Western Europe. Like, here they're going, it's like, oh, if you go against the European Union, you're a Putinist. If you don't do what the European Union says, Putin will invade. Like, it's completely different arguments. Like, no one cares if you're called a racist here. No one cares if you're called a sexist or a misogynist. Like they really tried pushing feminism. Even the women didn't buy it. Even the women didn't care about it, right? So it's like different people, different culture, different way of thinking. I'm not saying it's better or not, but I'm saying it's like, no, you can't really indoctrinate people here to hate themselves. Let me read some super chats really quick, and then we'll talk about the main topic. Rather than an ex-Canada shit, Trump should have just said, remove your tariffs on us, or so we'll do the same to you. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, as Luke said. I do think, like, the Canadian thing is a big mistake. British men need to either leave the United Kingdom or use male power to reclaim the United Kingdom. Complaining every day like Sargon accomplishes nothing, and I like Sargon. I actually told Sargon this. It's like, dude, fucking leave. Like, you're creating a business in a country where you pay taxes to a government that you hate. You can do the same thing from Poland. You can do the same thing from Hungary. You have a right to vote, right? So you can literally just make a publication in Poland. You can actually have free speech over there. And then when you have elections in Britain, you go back to your country, you vote, and then you come, right? Like, literally nothing changes because you're not on the streets causing mayhem, right? You're not that type of person. It's just like go into Poland, Just have like the exact same show. In fact, it would be more free because now you don't have to be hypersensitive about everything you say. And you do that from Poland and you deprive the government of your taxpayer money. You're not feeding into the system. But whatever, you know, like most people don't think like me. And so it is what it is. Like, what can you do? Like, the idea of being tied to your nation, blood and soil, if that was the case, America wouldn't exist because, like, a lot of Europeans that got fed up with Europe, with the religious repression, with the totalitarianism, right? Like, they moved into the United States and they became Americans. Like, literally, and even in America, right? Like, you have the gold rush. Like, what was the gold rush? Like, people who didn't like their lives, they didn't enjoy that they're sitting in poverty in their state, and they traveled halfway across the country for the promise of a better life. Did they get it? Fuck no, unless they sold shovels. But the principle is there, right? Like your vested interest is into your well-being and your family, and then your close circle of friends. If you have a government that you think doesn't represent you or is abusing you or is exploiting you, there's nothing preventing you from changing that government. You can literally go into another country. And I told this to Sarga, like, there's no excuse for him not going to Poland or to Hungary or anywhere else he wants. But in a country that at least wouldn't hate his kid. Like the very essence of, like, all men are rapists, right? Something that British feminists say is mind-boggling. Like, why would you want to live in a culture that says that about your son? Fuck is wrong with you? Fuck off. Go somewhere else. When they normalize, you go back. Like, I understand the person that doesn't have money, right? I understand the person that's poor and can't afford it. But, like, Sargon has money. He's got a business. He literally can move it. And it would be cheaper. He would pay less taxes as well. No, like, I understand, Bad Buddha. Like, if you can't leave because you don't have money, that's one thing. But if you do have money and you can leave and you choose not to, well, that's your problem, you know. But the rich aren't like you. Like, Britain is hemorrhaging rich people right now. Like, they're fleeing in the droves. But it is what it is, you know. $20 for our atheist defender of the faith and the First Amendment. Thank you, SRC. Like, that's pretty much the point. It was a First Amendment issue. I do think that people have a right to gather. I do think that people have a right of free speech. Right? Like, people have a right of worship. There's no excuse to shut down Easter. Like, during the fucking Great Plague, they didn't shut down Easter. During the fucking Spanish flu, they didn't shut down Easter. There is no justification to shut down Easter, period. Can UK still travel freely to the European Union? I'm pretty sure if you're rich, you can do it. Like, you just need paperwork. It's a little bit more difficult. But I'm pretty sure, like, if you're wealthy, you can pull it off. And if you can't, you can find other countries. Like, go to fucking Moldavia. You go to Moldavia, like, dude, if you're using a computer in order to make a living, then you can pretty much make that living from anywhere. You can genuinely just go into a poor nation and you live there like a fucking king. Like, the problem with Moldavia is that if you're working in Moldavia, right, like, they can't afford to pay you much, they pay you the wages there. But if you're in Moldavia and you're earning as much as Sargon is making, you're like a fucking business tycoon. You can even, like, own an entire enterprise over there. Like, you can actually start a chain of businesses with the money that you're having. Move or revolt, one of the two. People take the path of least resistance. This is why I'm suggesting moving, right? And at the end of the day, like, the government itself would freak out. Like, if the government loses their pay pigs, like, why do you think the Soviet Union locked the borders to prevent people from leaving? It's because if the government loses its pay pigs, then it collapses. And so it can't afford to lose the pay pigs. Latvia is the best country for a startup? The final straw that finally has convinced me to leave my country was hearing that all my women classmates used to say about men. Been working my way, living ever since. Well, that's what I think. When I look at Britain, the way things are going, it's going to turn into a country that's very similar to the way Pakistan is. And I'm not saying this as a pejorative or like, no, like an actual observation. Like, what is Pakistan? Well, it's a nation that's not very wealthy, but it does have nukes. It does have an army. And, it's got a culture that promotes Islam. Like, people who are Muslims get more protections than people who are not. And that's pretty much what's going to happen, That's my prediction. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think it's going there. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, Like, you look at Spain. Like, Spain became a Muslim colony, right? Like, the Moors colonized it. And then after 300 years, the Christian took it back. Like, such things happen throughout Europe. The Mongols come, like, they impose their dictatorship, then they're driven back off. Like, if you look at the history of Europe, it's very fluctuating, right? Like, it constantly fluctuates in ideology, beliefs, culture, demographics, right? Like, you have the Soviet Union, it conquers Eastern Europe, it deports people to Siberia, it imports Russians. I mean, these things happen throughout history. It's not something new. They trained people around, right? Not bus people around. They loaded up into trains and moved them from one side of the continent to the other. This is normal in Europe. But, like, you gotta know what to do in times of great turmoil. It was 700 years, not 300? Okay, well, my bad. Anyway, right, let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump, because this is what I wanted to talk about. And as I mentioned before, if you haven't seen the intro to the live stream, I know a lot of people don't like criticism of the Donald, but I also know that people don't like audience capture. Audience capture is when the content creator just parrots what the audience wants to see. And so I'm just really, like, thinking that the reason people still watch me is because I always have an honest take and I tell you what I think. And so, if I were to stop doing that, I think I would actually lose more subscribers than if I just give it to the audience capture and say that everything Trump does is great. Even though, like, I kind of believe that what he does is good most of the time, but his foreign policy right now, I think it's shit. And the reason that I think his foreign policy is shit is because of the consequences of what's happening down the line. Now I kind of understand why it's happening, but okay. Let's address the issue. He's making too many enemies, right? Like, he is belligerent with Canada. He's belligerent with the European Union. He is belligerent with everyone. Now that's fine, but it's not strategic. Like, divide and conquer is a tactic that works. And so what you're supposed to do is to pick an enemy, be belligerent with them, and once you fix them, then you go to the next. If you're going against everyone at the same time, well, you're getting unforeseen consequences. So what are those unforeseen consequences? Well, for instance, the leftist party is now going to win in Canada. Like, I genuinely thought, unironically, that Canada is going to, for sure, have a conservative government. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that the left has become patriotic. Like, Trump has actually managed to do the unthinkable and get the wokes, who were an ideology of hating your nation, to becoming an ideology of patriotism. And unfortunately, this is also what's happening in Europe right now. Like, the idea is that Macron and Germany are the de facto single-handed hopes of Europe, right? So, like, for Europe to continue existing, you need to listen to what Macron and Germany says. And Keir Starmer, even though he's not in the European Union, he is considered to be one of the holy three. And if you don't listen with them, you're an anti-patriot, you're a Putinist, you're against Europe, like, you want a divided Europe, you want, right? That didn't happen before. That didn't exist. And the reason for it, like, I know why Trump is doing the way he's doing, right? Like, he's not interested in right-wing ideology to exist in an international spectrum. He's only interested in America. So I get his reasoning. However, if you're looking at this long-term, if you're giving the leftist international clique power outside of America, then there will be a point where the Democrats will win again in America. Like, this will happen. It's like throughout American history. One party wins, they maintain power, then another party wins, right? Like, it's normal. It's a two-party system. But if the entire world ideology is even more left than it used to be right now, it's going to be very, very difficult for another right-wing government to be elected. And everything that Trump does is going to be undone. Like, the moment you're going to have President AOC or whomever the fuck are the Democrats going to put forward, they are going to undo everything that Trump has done. And they're going to have the international support and backing to do it. In fact, like, the entire international support and backing is going to be to fund whomever runs against Trump and to support them with any means necessary. And you don't want to achieve that from a strategic point. Like, from an ideological point, I get it. But, like, from a strategic point, that's not something that you would want to do. You don't want to have Canada that hates you. You don't want to have the European Union that hates you. You don't want to have Russia that hates you and China that, like, literally everyone. Well, Israel may like you, though, so there's that. But, like, the way he is doing things, I wouldn't say that it's antagonistic or lack of understanding, but like let me put it this way, right? Like, if he would have told Canada, instead of like trying to tell them, oh, we're going to make you our 51st state and be belligerent with them, he could have just said, look, you guys have tariffs on us. Like, why aren't you getting rid of them? You know, like, ask them nicely first. Right? And do it on a live stream or on a televised broadcast or something like that. And be like, look, how is it fair? Like, we're your friends, we protect you, blah, blah, blah. Why do we have to pay tariffs for you? Why is this and this and that? And if they don't want to rescind the tariffs, then you say, well, you know, this is very unfortunate, but like, our country now is in debt. You know, after the pandemic, we're not doing very well. And so we believe that it's only fair that we tariff you in return. And if you guys don't want that, you gotta lift your tariff. Like, that would have been a completely different conversation. And a completely different way of approaching things. Then it's like, oh, LOL, Canada is going to be the 51st state. You guys suck. We guys rock. The problem is, like, you're not attacking an ideology. You're attacking a nation, right? Like, you're attacking a group of people who now view that the woke are their only savior. Like, instead of, like, realizing that they need to elect strong, competent leaders, they're going to be, no, like, we're going to join the international community that's against Trump, which is France, the European Union, and everyone else. We're going to suffer 3 years, or how much Trump is going to be in office, and then we're going to do everything in our power, literally every resource, everything, in order to elect whomever runs against Trump. And I think that's their goal, right? And I think they can do it. I think they can survive for 3 years. And like, you're just helping to build this monstrous coalition of every other nation state in the world that will run against your interests. When it could be avoided just by being a little bit more diplomatic. Like, you can still get what you want. You can still accomplish the goals. But you gotta be a little bit more diplomatic in these things. You know? Like, that's my point. And the European Union, same shit. Like, if you're approaching the conversation with the nuclear option and it's like, oh, we're going to pull America out of NATO, what is Europe doing? Well, now they're building their own army. That's what they're doing, right? Like, do you want Germany to have an army again? Like, do you want another China in the world? Like, the Americans are already competing with China. They're competing with Russia, right? Now you want to compete with Europe as well. Why? Like, this is not good business. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, up until now, Europe was doing exactly what America was telling them to do. Like, European Union foreign policy was America's foreign policy. And, like, all of this could have been averted if it was done with a little bit more diplomatic tact. Rather than go like, oh, we're pulling out of NATO. Oh, you guys think we're protecting you? Ah, no, we're not. Okay, well, now they're building shit. And they're building a new army. Now, again, right now, you may say it's good. But, like, what happens, like, 30 years, 40 years down the line if you have, like, a European Union-China alliance? like, unironically, I don't think the Americans can manage to control the waters if you were to have like a European-Chinese alliance that actually dominates the seas. Like most of the shipbuilding, a lot of Americans don't know this, right? Like, you guys dominate when it comes to the military, right? So like you have the strongest air force in the world, you have the strongest military in the world, but when it comes to shipbuilding, most of the shipbuilders are in Europe. And if you have like Europe and Canada joining forces and allying with Canada, like that would be the end of the American hegemony on the waters. And it's a thing that can easily be avoided. Like, you don't even have to fucking get there, you know? Like, maybe you will win. I'm not sure. Like, okay, maybe, like, your country is the only nation on Earth that can fight the entire planet. I mean, I don't think that's the case. I don't think, like, one country on Earth can fight everyone else. But, like, okay, maybe you can. Who fucking knows? Why do you want people to die, though? Like, because that's what happens, right? Like, when you have a war, people die. Like, why do you even get into that position? Like, is it a lot better to just dominate through sheer might? Like, knowing that no one is going to fuck with you because, like, everyone that can is either on your side or doesn't have the guts to do it? Like, I'm just saying, you know? It just doesn't fucking make sense to think like this. But it is what it is. Thinks he wants to kickstart Europe to wake up. But, like, Europe was downstarted by America. Like, Europe already kickstarted during World War I, it kickstarted during World War II, and America came in order to stop it from kickstarting. Because every single fucking time Europe is kickstarting, you get another world war. And it was like America that came in. It's like, alright, we're going to keep Russia away, and we're going to keep Germany down. And no more kickstarting. Stop it with the kickstarting, okay? Just fucking stop. Not cool. Everyone said Trump was too belligerent, too abrasive. You are saying the same thing now, but who won at the end? Well, in the short term, like, Trump won, yeah, sure. But, like, what happens 10 years down the line? This is what Sargon was mentioning on Timcast, and trying to word the right, not to gloat and be antagonistic. I'm glad he said that because I was thinking the same thing. As far as I'm concerned, to the right, act just like the left. They act like arrogant pricks. Well, you know, like, there used to be this thing, humble in victory, graceful in defeat, you know? But at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, we're not setting these policies, we're just talking about them. And I'm just, like, trying to make sense of it, and to me, at least, it doesn't make sense. Because, again, like you can literally accomplish the same goals that Trump has if he's just a little bit more diplomatic. That, like, literally, that's it. That's all he needs to do, is just to be a little bit more diplomatic and more strategic about it. Like, don't fuck with everyone at the same time. Like, pick a target. Like, let's say you want to fuck with Canada, alright? Fuck with Canada and still be friends with the EU. Like, don't tell them your plans. Don't show them your hand. And you're just laser focusing on Canada. And after you finish the Canada question, then you move to European Union. And then you fuck with them and you leave Canada alone. Like, that to me would make a lot more sense than to fuck with everyone at the same time. Like, you're fucking with China, you're fucking with Canada, you're fucking with the European Union, you're fucking with everyone so that they unite. And now it's more difficult to fight like 3 people at once rather than 1, you know? It's just... Thank you for the donation, Waifu Crab, I appreciate it. Jacob Andrew, if you try to take into account the Chinese who are making their fleet bigger and are preparing to occupy not just Taiwan but other smaller nations next to them, Trump making enemies to countries around the United States is a bad deal. Yeah, I do think so. I generally don't get it, to be honest. I do understand, like, why he wants to end the war in Ukraine. Like, that to me makes sense. Because, like, you don't want to be caught on 2 fronts, fighting against China and fighting against Russia at the same time. Because, like, before Russia invaded Ukraine, America was already moving its military-industrial complex from making weapons that are good in the Middle East to making weapons that are good on the sea. Right? So, like, they're already viewing a conflict between China and the US, which a lot of people think is inevitable. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But it is what it is, right? So you don't want to be fighting in Ukraine and you're fighting with China. You don't want Europe who's already weakened by the sanctions to Russia, to now have to put sanctions against China as well. Like there's another thing, with about this mentality. It's like, okay, we're America, we can take the entire world. Like, maybe you can, right? But how many Americans do you want to die doing that? Because if you have allies, maybe the conflict doesn't even need to happen. Like, if you have a massive coalition, like, you're already America, you're already great, right? But, like, if you have a massive coalition behind you, well, maybe the conflict doesn't even happen because no one fucking dares. And so, it is what it is. And it's not like war is not just about soldiers. It's also about economic sanctions. It's also about trade. Like, Europe can actually hurt China if it decides to stop trading with it. But will it? Like, that's another question. Like if America, let's say, pulls out of NATO and decides to not want to play ball, why would Europe then decide to sanction China? I mean, okay, America is fighting China. Why is that Europe's problem? Why should we stop trading with China at the end of the day? Like, fuck it, no, we're going to still trade with them, right? Maybe even give them weapons, give them ammo. Like, what, right? Because, like, if this is the mentality now, it's like, okay, well, everyone is out for themselves, and, like, America has no interest in Europe. Like, okay, Europe builds its own army. We're not helping China militarily, but, like, why should we stop trading with them? For what reason? And so, like, right, this idea, in my opinion, just doesn't make any fucking sense down the road. Like, it makes sense now. Sure, you can bully nations now, but you're making the left, you're making the woke patriotic. Like you're making the vision that in order to be patriotic, you have to be left-leaning. You have to vote for Macron, you have to vote for Schultz, you have to vote for the liberals in Canada, and you're, like, reigniting the leftist international clique. You're making them relevant again. And then, like, if heaven forbids the Democrats win the next election, then they will make absolutely sure that a Republican is going to have it extremely difficult from winning. I mean, it's a miracle that Trump even won to begin with, right? Like, the man almost got assassinated. And he was taken through all the legal proceedings and so on and so forth. Like, the next time, they're going to be even more insane. And thank you for the $2, American Outlier. Yes, all is actually well. I've come to the realization that it's not just the American left that is insane. Politically active Americans in general are regarded. Well, no, like, see, I understand where the insanity is coming from. I genuinely get it. If you guys remember, Trump already had a term in office. Like, he was already in office, and what happened? Well, they sabotaged him all the way, and he was nice back then. He was so fucking nice. Like, the only bad thing that he did was mean tweets. And he was very nice with everyone. He was very calm and, rational in his way of approaching things. And you notice that the European Union is funding his political opponents. You're noticing that the international community is against him. They're trying to assassinate him. They're trying to imprison him. They're trying to confiscate his wealth. They're going after his lawyers. They're trying to take away his bank accounts. And so, like, I get the mindset. Like, don't get me wrong. I get the fucking mindset. But, like, it's one thing to have the pathos, to have the emotion. And it's another thing to look at the results of what you're accomplishing. And it turns out that he went a little bit too gung-ho. And wasn't, like, really strategic about it. American Outlier. I have a methodology about the speed in which a defeated political can reobtain power. It's 5 R's. Retreat, regroup, rebrand, recoup, and revenge. I think Trump actually did that. Like, I genuinely think that while he lost the election, he had a lot of people that he talked with. He tried to look, it's like, how does the left gain power? What exactly are they doing? He tried forming a coalition. I do think that he did what you're saying. And I do think that, yeah, like, what he's doing now is revenge. But, like, it's kind of counterintuitive because you would think, okay, well, if we get Europe to become independent and arm itself, then it's going to be under a right-wing government. No. Apparently, it's under the woke government. It's under the pro-environmentalism, pro-rainbow coalition. It's under Macron. It's under Germany. It's right. And you're getting, like, another leftist in Canada elected. You're surrounding the international community with leftists. It's not good. But whatever, that's just my take. I know that a lot of people don't like hearing it. But I think, like, it is what it is. Maybe, like, this is a plan. Maybe, like, 1 or 2 years down the line, I'm wrong. And there's, like, everything is going to connect and it's going to click somehow. Now, I do understand that, like, the purpose of Trump is not to create an international right-wing way of viewing, right? Like, his interest is in America. But again, like, 10 years down the line, if a Democrat wins, is it going to be in America's interest? Because they're going to undo literally everything that Trump does. It's not like my point isn't about being the world police. Because, like, I get, like, why America wants to withdraw from the conflict in Eastern Europe, right? Because you guys want to focus on China. But it's like how you're doing it. I'm not, like, my beef is not with the fact that you're doing it, but, like, how it's being done. Now, America being world police. Like, can we stop with the little kids table, right? Like that's the story for children. You guys are an empire. You need to control the shipping lanes. If you don't control the shipping lanes, you stop being an empire. You're not defending other people. You're defending America's national interests. Like, there's always something that you're gaining for every single fucking conflict that you're going into. But it sounds bad on TV if they say, well, like, we're going in the Middle East because of geostrategical reasons and resources and blah. No, like, they're going to give democracy because we're the world police. That's what they're telling the little kids. But in reality, no, you're an empire and you need the shipping lanes. You want to be the ones that set the tariffs. You want to be the ones that put the blockades and you don't get blockaded. You want to be the ones that can travel wherever the fuck you want because you have, like, a big American cock, and if you want to spit it in the China Sea, that's where you're fucking going to go. You're the ones that get to tell other nations, no, you leave little Taiwan alone because else we're going to fuck with you. And you want to be able to have people actually believe that you can fuck with them when you say it. If you're actually going to stop protecting those shipping lanes, then you're going to have massive prices. Like, the price of eggs is going to grow even more exponential. You're going to be having difficulty selling stuff in other places, and it's going to be other people tariffing you rather than you tariffing them. It's simple as. It's not like about being the world police. It's about protecting the interests of the empire. The Romans did it. The British Empire did it. Every other empire in human history has done this. Protecting the merchant routes is priority numero uno. Without them, people starve. So I really hate, like, the concept, oh my goodness, we're the world police. No, you're fucking not. You didn't go to Myanmar to police things in Myanmar, did you? Why? Because there's no trading routes through Myanmar, that's why. And they don't have any resources either. Israel is a special asterisk. Like, there's a different reason why you guys like Israel so much. It doesn't have to do with, like, the shipping lanes or the trading routes. Trump did win the long term. Hold on. You are just saying be a little nicer. That's not Trump, and in the long term it worked. No, I'm saying be a little bit more diplomatic when dealing with other nation states. Like, it's one thing when you're being a dick to your politicians, or you're being a dick to, like, one person or another. It's another thing when you're being a dick to a nation state. Trump didn't do that the first time around. In fact, like, or maybe he did, but to nations that don't matter. Oh my goodness, he called a nation a shithole. Who fucking cares, right? But it's another thing when you're going after, like, you're threatening your strategic partners that, the planes we're selling you, yeah, they're going to be like 15% worse. Why would they keep buying planes from you then? Like, you're just telling them, hey, can you not buy from the Chinese? Because they're not selling you shit. 50% off. And the thing is, like, here's the funny part. This is the joke. The Chinese are actually selling their military gear 50% off, but they don't fucking say it. They don't fucking go around in public and say it. Like, when the Chinese were selling chips to the Russians, 40% of them were faulty. But if you ask them, they would say, what are you talking about? Must be a bad batch. Sorry, what happened again? And the next batch was 30% faulty. But, like, that's called diplomacy. Like, nobody's saying, like, don't sell your shitty hardware to other nations. Like, I would fucking do it as well. But don't brag about it. Fuck is wrong with you? How is that good for business? And not to mention, I even know why they're selling their planes. It's because if you look at the conflict of Ukraine, planes are fucking worthless now. Everything is about the drones. You have a drone that costs like $3,000 to make, you strap some C4 on it, and you blow $1 million tank with it. All the technology is fucking useless when you're fighting against a force that has the same shit that you do. Like the same level of technology, right? Oh, you're going into Iraq and you're firing a laser-guided missile that can go into the anus of a mosquito. Is that fucking accurate? Well, that's great. You know, you can do it. But if you're fighting against someone that can jam your missile and it jams your fucking satellite, all of a sudden the missile goes haywire. Oh, it's so fucking cool. Oh, look, we're in a tank. We're impenetrable. Like, people are firing RPGs at us. The tank has active reactive armor. All is good until a fucking drone kamikazes into the tank. Drone costs 3,000. Tank costs 1 million. You're fucked. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure you want to get rid of all the hardware that you're having in order to, you know, like, update your military based on the shit that you're seeing on the ground. Like, I get it. But don't brag about the fact that you're giving your allies, because at the end of the day, you know, you're giving the people that are allied with you, your friends, you're giving them gear, and you're telling them it's defective on purpose. It's like, Nani? Why would you do that? If you don't consider them your friends, don't sell them military gear. If we go by the America is the Roman Empire and Europe is the provinces, this is basically Rome having a regime change and the Eastern provinces becoming the Byzantium. I do think that's a really amazing analogy, yes. I think like, yeah, like this is how you get the Byzantium. And the funny part is like the Byzantium actually outlasted the Roman Empire. Honestly, the United States needs to have a civil conflict and be done with it. So one side is purged. Otherwise, like you said, one party just undoes the other and vice versa. No, I think that would be awful. I think that would be awful. See, like, the problem isn't the ideology. I mean, it is, in a way. But even if, like, the left was reasonable, the problem is when you have people in power for too long, you have grifters, right? Like, there is a reason why right-wingers, up until a couple of months ago, were considered reasonable, almost like 99%, and now that is dropping, while the left was considered unhinged. And the reason for that is, like, when you're being censored, when you're being bullied, when you're being persecuted, optics matter. Because you have to behave in a way so you don't get censored. And you have, like, natural selection. Like, all the people that are spurgs, they get banned. And so the only people left that, you know, that they're like the face of the movement are going to be well-spoken, well-articulated people. Now, when you get in power and all of the checks and balances go away and all of the quality control goes away, well, you have like people that are psychopaths, people that are unhinged, that gravitates toward power. Because like people want to be they want to be psychopaths in society and have an excuse, right? So that they're not the ones that get persecuted. So, for instance, you can have a person that believes trans rights are human rights, and whenever they see someone like J.K. Rowling, they can say, like, the most meanest, unhinged shit against her, and society congratulates them. Why? Because that's where the power is. Like, they're gravitating towards power. So, like, when you have an ideology that's in power for too long, you have, like, all the psychopaths and all the grifters and all the people that don't believe and all the people that want to abuse the ideology just gravitate towards it. And so, they don't care about optics. There's no quality control anymore. And that's how USAID becomes a thing. Right? Like, USAID became a thing simply because, like, the left was in power for too long and no one would investigate them. Like, the left wouldn't investigate themselves, right? Because it's their fucking grift. And by the way, like, this is the reason why USAID actually failed and Eastern European grifts are forever. It's also the mentality. Now, by the way, it's a good thing that USAID failed. I want people to understand this. But if we're talking about the sustainability of a grift, right? So, like, the sustainability of a corruption. In Eastern Europe, we also have our grifts. But everyone is welcome. Like, everyone is represented in the grift. So you have, like, right-wingers, you have leftists, you have Christians, you have atheists, you have, like, literally every aspect of society is in the grift. Meanwhile, in America, you had this mentality of Puritan thinking, right? Like puritanical thinking. And so it's like, no, unless you're perfectly woke, unless you believe everything that the woke believes, you're not allowed in the grift. And so Kamala Harris was shocked when she noticed that she can't appeal to young men voters because they're cut off from the grift, right? And then when you look at what happens in Europe, if someone was to try to tackle the grift, well, you have people from all sides freaking out about it. It's like, dude, like this is our grift as well, right? Now, imagine if in America, like USAID also had right-wingers in it. Like if it had Republicans tapping into the grift. When Donald Trump would have wanted to shut down USAID, you would have like right-wingers talking to Trump and saying, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, Mr. President, I'm making a lot of money with USAID. If you shut it down, there will be a time when you'll need my vote on some legislation. Maybe not now, maybe in a month, maybe in a year, I don't fucking know when, but you'll need my support. And I will be damned if I will give you my vote. Like, I will do my best in order to sabotage you if you don't leave my grift the fuck alone, right? That's what happens when the grift is representative of everybody. You don't have to have like 50% people on the left and 50% people on the right in the grift. But you need to have like enough opposition, like maybe 20% of people to be allowed in the grift from the right, so that when the right tries to take down the grift, those 20% will be actively opposed. Again, I'm not suggesting that grifting is good. I'm not suggesting that it's a bad thing that USAID goes. Quite the contrary. But I'm trying to explain the mindset of like gathering and maintaining power. If you don't include everyone, at least in a certain percentage, then when you're under attack, you won't be defended by the other side. And when you're under attack by the other side, like having people within that side defending you is extremely important, because then it looks bipartisan. Then it looks like, well, actually everyone is against us being attacked, right? It's called APAC. I see. I mean, APAC is supporting the left and the right. Yeah, like APAC is a extremely well example of a grift. By supporting everyone, the left and the right, it's very difficult to look into. Europe is going through rock bottom like we did with Biden. They'll change and it will be better this way. If you think this, you're delusional. Europe is actually the land of authoritarianism. Like, it's the land of absolute monarchies. It's the land of fascism, communism, and Nazism. All these ideologies came from Europe. The de facto state of Europe is more like China than it is like the United States. Like, the US invented democracy. The US invented liberty and freedom. Europe is the antithesis. Europe is the land of bureaucracy. It's the land of autistic, meticulous writing down of everything. It's the land of that stifles innovation in exchange of preserving the status quo. So if you think that Europe will bounce back, no. The only time Europe is innovative is when it's at war. Like, if you look at the history of Europe, it's extremely bloody. You have the Napoleonic Wars, you have like the French Revolution, you have the wars between the Brits and the France, you have the Ottoman Empire, the Goths, the Huns, the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, the Tatars, you have the Mongols, you have like the World War I and World War II. Like, Europe is constantly fighting. And that's the only time it innovates. Because when you're at war, you don't have time for all the bureaucracy. But other than that, no. When Europe is at peace, it's not the land of the free. Right? Like, that's America. The most blood-stained soil of the entire globe, that's incorrect. That's China. China had some, like, besides World War I and World War II, some of the worst carnage that humanity saw was in the Chinese revolutions. And usually they have like a big chimp out every 100 years. And I think it kind of is time for the other. If history told us, it's almost like 100 years since Mao took over. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, like some of the worst carnages in human history outside of World War I and World War II are in China during the Chinese civil wars. You have a grass is greener syndrome. America is profoundly unfree. Have you seen Britain recently? They banned ninja swords. I'm not kidding. They are arresting people for having like Zelda replica swords. They're arresting people for memes on Twitter. They canceled elections in my country. I don't know. Like what exactly do you mean that I have like rose tinted glasses when I look at America? Who's more freer than America? Like, name me the country where you have more rights than in America. Please do. I'm waiting. No, seriously. And I want a large nation. I don't want like you found like a little pebble. And like, oh, like that little Epstein Island. Like, that's more free than the United States. No, like tell me a nation that's large enough and significant enough where you believe, yeah, like in this place it's more free than the US. Yeah, like they arrested people for praying silently in their head. Like what the fuck are you on about? You're a fish in the water. You just think it's normal. You don't see the water because you live in it. Even in my leftist state, I can carry my AR-15 in my trunk with no problem. What is that dude talking about? We aren't free here. I don't know. I'm baffled as well. I'm trying to understand, like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, America isn't free, and I have rose-tinted glasses. I mean, look, like, compared to the utopia, compared to the standard of freedom that I would like a country to have, sure, there's rooms for improvements. But at least when you guys get upset, you can vote for Trump. We can't do this in Europe. Like, in Europe, it's not the European members in the EU Parliament that have the power. They just have the power to rubber stamp. The real power is with the European Commission. I don't vote for Ursula von der Leyen. Like, from what I understand, like, she was the only one that they could have voted for, right? If I'm not mistaken, I'll have to check. I'm not sure on that. But, like, that's a far worse system than what the Americans have. Somalia has no government, so they are free. Well, too bad they're not free from the gangs, though. Europe may not have invented or been great as of late, but it sure have patented the bright ideas that many Americans great given its long history. Oh, well, I'm glad. You know, when it comes to morality, we're the number ones. Yes, like, we're really good in theory. Like, on papers, like, we write really good shit. We don't make AI, but we did write the first AI legislation. It's actually, you know, very good if you already have AI. If you want to actually make a company that builds a new AI, the legislation is a fucking nightmare. Funny thing is, the UK banned ninja swords, but there is no such thing as a ninja sword. Well, no, like that's probably what they're telling the public, right? But if you, like, I haven't read the actual legislation, but I'm pretty sure, like, they defined what a ninja sword is. It's probably a long sword, like a long, sharp piece of metal over a certain diameter, right? Like, they go really technical when it comes to the laws. Like I wouldn't be surprised if rapiers as well, like, get classified as a ninja sword or a machete. Right? Like it's basically the way I understand, like, a long blade. So if you have, like, a blade that's long, it's probably banned. You'd have to read the law, right? But they usually, like, they have, like, a very technical way of describing what it is. They would probably say any blade that's a sharp object more than 30 centimeters, right? Like, that can be used as an improvised melee weapon, blah, blah, blah. And then they have, like, a huge description that probably covers a huge array of swords. So, like, if you have a katana, probably banned. And not to mention, if it's not described, then it's going to be for the interpretation of a British judge. You know, like, good luck going to a judge and say, Your Honor, This is not a ninja sword. This is a katana. I'm pretty sure he'll give a shit. Like the same judge that arrests people for memes is going to look at the katana and is going to say, yeah, you're right. How silly of us. Prosecutor, come here. Are you blind? Can you not see? This is not a ninja sword. This is used by an honorable samurai. Fuck is wrong with you? This is not the weapon of a cowardly assassin. This is the weapon of a strong samurai with firm beliefs and rooted into tradition. Some French programmers built an AI company, Mistral, with an open source LLM. Now they're moving to California. Yeah, pretty fucking much. Like, I want to point out, they didn't make the AI because of the EU. They made the AI despite the regulation. And now that they're moving to California, they can probably upgrade their product. And this is like something that happens with a lot of people that invent stuff here. They're fucking off. Actually, you should show the judge that he's being a dumbass. I mean, I'm pretty sure, you can show the judge that's being a dumbass without necessarily doing contempt of court, but you're still going to go to prison. Dude, I want you to understand. There is a guy that went to prison for having a fidget spinner. Like, he had a Zelda sword replica, and he fell foul of carrying a knife. Like, that's the law he broke, right? Like, the knife ban rule. Right? Like, knives are banned in the UK, and that didn't stop like people with potato peelers from going to prison or people with fidget spinners from going to prison, because like you can go in front of a judge and you can argue your case and the judge will say, yeah, but like based on the diameter, based on the centimeter. Like I want to point out, when I went to Britain, I had to go through the Romanian airport. And I wanted to buy Sargon a gift, right? Because, like, I'm going to Britain, I know Sargon, I'm going to see him, going to go to the Lotus Eaters, and it's nice if I bring something from Romania. And I managed to find, like, this, this like, keychain that was in the shape of a medieval sword. And I thought, okay, well, Sargon will probably like this, right? It was like a 3-centimeter sword, like, you couldn't even use it to cut an apple. It was just aesthetic. When I go down in Britain, they frisk me. It's like, what is it? Well, it's 3 centimeter and we only allow 2.5. So I have to throw it away. But it's like how anal they are with the law there, right? It's almost like going into a prison and they're frisking you for shanks. And like none of it makes any fucking sense. It's like, are they going to ban rocks next? Like what else? Are they going to buy rocks and stones and... I'm running the Mistral model on my home. Servers Olama instance pretty good. I heard that DeepSeek 3 is also a lot better. What's 3 centimeter? How the fuck can you not know? Do you guys not use that for bullets? Like, I really dislike when what's a centimeter? You fucking use that for your bullets. You know what a centimeter is. You like guns. Shut the fuck up. Imagine a 10 centimeter bullet and then like divide it by 3. And you're getting close. I remember someone in the UK, says Frog Jupiter, got arrested for carrying a knife vegetable peeler in his pocket. In Texas, I can open carry a knife longer than 5.5 inch. Well, I gotta say, like, since you get me started on America freedoms, like, the one thing that you guys freak out of is when it's about child safety. Like, if it's a law that's passed to fight terrorism or protect children, you guys accept it no matter what's in the bill. And this is how ninja stars got banned, right? So, like, there are places in the United States where you can have a gun, but you can't have a ninja star, a shuriken. That's what they go, shuriken. Yeah, you can't have a shuriken jutsu. You can't do the shuriken. And I actually wanted to say, like, okay, this is fucked up. So like, you're telling me that there is a country on Earth where people can have guns, but they can't have shurikens. And it's like, why the fuck can't they have shurikens? And also nunchucks. Nunchucks were banned too. So they can't have shurikens and they can't have nunchucks. And you're like, well, why? And it turns out because there was a point in time when Chinese movies were very popular. Like Kung Fu Chinese movie with Bruce Lee, the one that goes like, "Wata!" Like that type of person. So like Bruce Lee was really popular. And you have a couple of kids in some park with parents that didn't give a shit, and they were playing with nunchucks, and they got a brown eye. And then they had another kid that was like having shuriken jutsu, throwing the shuriken, and someone got stabbed, like in South Park with butters. I think like that may have been why the episode was made, because it's after a real event. Kids played with ninja stars, and someone lost an eye. National emergency, national paranoia, ban it all, and fuck it. Because that's the mentality, well, they're not coming after my guns. If they came after my guns, I would have defended. But I don't use ninja stars, and I don't use shurikens, and fuck the people that do. And so that's why it ends up with the ridiculous thing where you can have guns, but you can't have shurikens. Yeah, ban children. Just fucking ban bad parenting. How about that? Like in Romania, if you have a kid that does that, let's say I have a 7-year-old, right? And he goes on the playground and he hits another kid with a ninja star and breaks his eye. Do you know what happens? I go to prison. Because I'm responsible. I'm the legal guardian. I am the one that's responsible for his education. Do you know what happens when you have that type of society? People actually watch over their kids. Because at every point, you know that if your kid does something stupid, you go to prison. And all of a sudden, people do parenting. Imagine that. And if you can't do parenting, you don't fucking have kids. True, you can't have nunchucks in Alabama. See, I fucking knew it. To be fair, like, nunchucks is actually the worst melee weapon. Like even a stick is better than a nunchuck. Because the reason is, and I heard so much cope from nunchuck users, it's like, nah, you don't know how to use it. No, I do know how to use it. But the problem is, it's like, if you hit someone, like, you're literally hitting the person, right? There is a possibility that the nunchuck bounces back at you. Why do I need to deal with that shit when I can just take a stick and you hit someone with the stick and it's a lot more effective? Like, the stick never bounces back into you, When do you think the UK will ban the ninja outfit, including for women? All black from head to toe. Never. No, seriously, I don't, I like, when I look at the UK, I see it as the clown car of international politics. Like, France and Germany will get the shit together. I don't think the UK will. Spear is unironically the best melee weapon. Like a pointy stick. Very simple, easy to form a formation with. Even a peasant learns how to use it. Pointy stick goes towards the enemy, and you thrust. And you can also pull it back, and now you have like a lot more range. Now you can fight someone that's up close. You can pull it forward, now you can fight someone that's far away. Historically speaking, the pointy stick was the weapon of choice for many medieval engagements. Fucking nunchucks. Everything like else just looks cool, but it's not usable, right? Like whips, they look cool, but they're not usable in combat. Maces are a weapon of necessity. Maces are to crack the can that is the plate armor. You have someone with plate armor, all of a sudden the pointy stick doesn't work, and then you need the hammer or the mace to crack open the can. But that's like different, right? Like that's... My freedom is bigger than the child safety. Now here's the thing, my take on the child safety, right? I do think that child safety is very important, but like if you look at the legislations that were passed to protect kids, or the legislations that were passed to protect against terrorists, and you go back like 10 years ago, and you take law by law by law, and then you look at what they promised to do and what they actually did. And you will see that 9 out of 10 times it was never about protecting kids. And like it always had like some other purpose that it got passed. American conservatives will agree to anything if you say think of the children, including CBDC, social credit, anything to ban porn. Yeah, no, like unironically, I genuinely think that if I was in charge and I was asked to pass a law that's unpopular, I would have to say, okay, like how can we make it so that we pass it as think of the kids or fighting terrorism? Right? Like that's the best way to pass it. And you have like that's the main law, and you put a lot of pork in it, and then you add like other things that have nothing to do with protecting kids. $50,000 years, and we still cannot come up with a better melee weapon than the pointed stick? I mean, you do. You have the electric baton. I don't know, like the electric stunner is a pointy stick or not, but like I would say that's a better weapon. But yeah, if you think about it, like the bayonet is a pointed stick, right? So like even with guns, you still have the bayonet. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like 5,000 years later, and you can't think of something other than the pointy stick. The pointy stick is so fucking cool. You can even throw it, right? So like the Romans, they had the pilum. So like they had the pointy stick that they would throw at the enemy, and then they would charge at the enemy with their gladius. So you're absolutely correct. Somehow the think of the children thing has only failed when it comes to the Second Amendment. Kind of interesting. Rage is OP. That's why the pointy stick is the best melee weapon. It's honestly wild that spears are not banned and bows are regulated. Oh, I can explain why that is. There is an element of human psychology where it goes against our nature to kill another person, right? Like most people don't want to kill another human being. It's evolutionary. However, like during warfare, during times where medieval peasants were mobilized to battle, you have to get them to overcome that. And so like this is why they do the drilling and the dehumanizing aspects of training and blah blah blah, in order to get people to be used to take another one's life in combat, in war. However, that doesn't happen when the person is further away. Like if you're firing a bow into someone or you're firing a crossbow, apparently studies show that the person is more likely to pull the string or the trigger than it is to thrust a spear. This is why in the American Revolutionary War, like you would have people with muskets just like stay around and fire at each other rather than just do a charge. Because like the way that Europeans did it would be you have like your colonial armies and you're firing the line, right? And then you have like the smoke, which gives you perfect cover for you to do a bayonet charge. And when you're doing the bayonet charge, usually the other side routes. However, the way that Americans did it in the colonial war in the beginning, they changed tactics eventually, was that they would fire, they would stay there, they would reload, the other side would fire, they would stay there, they would reload. And this caused a lot more death than, just having like a quick, clean charge that... But like the reason soldiers wouldn't charge is because they don't want to get up close and personal into melee, right? And so to go back to what you're saying, like why crossbows and bows are banned while spears aren't, it's like, well, first of all, like banning spears is a little bit more difficult. But secondly, it's because like people aren't willing to use them. Like it's just like that thing that, and if you look at fatalities in World War II, you would notice that a lot of them didn't come from guns, they came from artillery. Because it's the same principle, like you're far away. The further you are away, and the further you don't actually get to see the carnage you're inflicting, the more desensitized you are. Which is why right now drone combat is literally the worst. Yeah, USA did fight in turn-based combat. Man, getting hit with one of those colonial bullets was hell on fucking earth. Like those absolutely were horrible carnage. And the idea of like staying in a line and just maintaining formation while the enemy, like the enemy is fighting at you. Just fucking insane. And in World War I, like there's another thing that people don't know. When you look at World War I movies, when they go up and over the no man's land, it shows that they're charging, right? Like they're running towards the other trench. That's not what they did. Like in the Battle of Vermont, for instance, Verdun, sorry, they sent tens of thousands of men to their doom. Like literally, imagine this: you're in a trench, you're going up the trench, and on the other side there's a guy with a machine gun that keeps mowing down people. It's kind of like in League of Legends, like those little minions in League of Legends. Like you're just marching towards the enemy tower. And it's wave after wave after wave. It's like just walls of corpses, right? And people didn't run. They were marching. Like you literally just had to march calmly in front of machine gun fire. There's no cover. There's no nothing. And the reason they're doing this, because like I was like, what do you mean they were marching? Yeah, but like think about it, because it makes sense. Like first of all, let's say you're running and you're the first guy that gets to the enemy trench. Like you're outnumbered, you die. Like, you want to get to the enemy trench at the same time with your bodies in order to stand a fighting chance. And the second reason is like, okay, you're running and you got there and you're tired. Well, now you have to fight the enemy that wasn't running. They're not tired. And so, again, like they were marching in lockstep over no man's land with no cover while machine gun fire was just like tearing them apart. It's just like fucking insane. I just can't even conceive that. It's like hell on earth. Battle of Vermont. I'm seeing the future. Defending tends to be easier than attacking, always. But in World War I, like, it was even easier. Prussian discipline is one hell of a drug. Well, this is why in World War II, a lot of the soldiers, the Nazis, they would get drugs. I don't know if the Americans gave combat stims to their soldiers, but I know the Nazis didn't. The Russians would just give you vodka, and the Japanese would also give you like various drugs, like for the kamikaze pilots. Will the EU allow mustard gas this time around? Fun fact, the British would actually allow it if the Germans would have invaded the island. Like, they actually did plan to use gas as a psychological warfare if the Germans would have landed in Britain. Anyway, right, gonna go upload the videos on my other channels. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate the super chats. And I'll see you guys later.